Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast. Do you know you? As promised in my first episode, that I will get somebody to answer all the questions that keep coming in my mind. So today I have heenasomani with me. She is an Instagram influencer, social media market manager, image stylist. Heena, how it how does it feel to do so much at once?
Overwhelming, but also really good that there's so much that can be done, as well as like we were talking earlier, that for me the growth has come very gradually. So of course it feels really, really great.
Because when I read about you on the internet, you have out of two Indians, you have been one of them that who were invited at Milano Film Festival, and
Yes, that's right.
also and also you have been on gujaratcelebs.com, and that article is really great, and it tells how much you have achieved and how much hard work you have done. So I felt really
Thank you
good
so much.
reading it.
Thank you
With
so much.
60K followers on Instagram and doing other stuff, is it difficult to not be on social media at times?
Yes, definitely. It does get a bit difficult, but however, it was way more difficult when I started than now, because I think with time in any business or in any field for that matter, any industry, you kind of learn how to go through with it and how to divide your time and do the time management. So earlier there was like no differentiation, everything was all jumbled up. We were almost pretty much always on the phone or always editing. But then now, once you have a routine set where you know that, for example, for me, as I wake up, I do my meditation, I do yoga, and then I go on to working. So for me, I have these time zones in my day where I'm completely off social media or kind of any screen time for that matter.
So, Hina, having said that, doing so much and giving yourself time to, get connect to yourself. So, do you think, do you know you?
I would say yes, pretty well actually. Though being said that, I would say it has come with time. It wasn't like a overnight thing that I just know me. And uh, with that, I also think it's a journey. It's not like a destination that you reach that, oh, I know me now and this is it. It's like a constant change as situations change in our life. We change. Just for example, when you're in school, you feel a certain way about yourself. You go to college, it's a big milestone in your life, and then again you change, and the use definition kind of changes. And then you probably find a partner, it changes. You get married, it changes. Or you shift a city, it changes. So in that way, at this point, yes, I would say I know myself pretty well. But I do think it's a journey, and I constantly work to kind of even go deeper in understanding my own personality.
Yeah. So, again and again, I am stressing on the point with 60K Instagram followers, being on Pinterest, and being an image stylist and all. How do you, what would you say about the number game? How important is it?
Um, it's important and damaging at the same time. It's important because in which field it isn't important, right? Like if you had a store, your sales numbers are important. I mean, numbers are everywhere, right? So in that way, it's good. It's good that you have a kind of a standard way of kind of comparison and competition. There's a nice way to measure it. Of course, it's a bit more complicated than just the number, but in terms of, yes, it helps. And it also kind of gives you a goal to work towards, right? What if you didn't have these numbers? What are the goals that you would be working towards? Of course, one is to create good content, but it does provide some kind of um, numerical value, if that makes sense. Being said that, it's also damaging because a lot of people get obsessed, and that could be extremely like harming in terms of your mental health, because it's a constant that, oh, now that I've reached 60, I want to go to 100. The minute you reach 100 is 200, 200, 400. Like, it's never ending. It's always going to be, I want the bigger number. So that feeling of content has to be there when you have 10K or 100K. Otherwise, it could be extremely damaging, is what I feel.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because to have certain kind of influence on people, you have to have number. Otherwise, there's no point of doing what you're
Yeah,
doing if you have no
yeah,
influence,
yeah.
you have no followers. So, how did you start? How did your blogging journey started?
So I actually started 2015. Started way before that. So when I was studying in Singapore, I came across a lot of bloggers. So I made this website that probably doesn't exist anymore. I deleted it. But it was
It
just for
doesn't.
fun. Yeah, it was just for fun. I would just upload fashion things and like trends, and sometimes I have pictures. But at that point, putting up pictures on the internet was such a foreign concept. Like I'm talking about 2009. That was
Mm.
a long, long time back. People
Yeah.
didn't even know like there were just few to three good bloggers around the world. India
Yeah.
barely had one or two. Actually, they didn't have any. India had zero bloggers at that point.
Mm.
So I knew about the industry since a very long time. But at that point, at least in India, just putting out your pictures on the internet was like the most scariest thing ever. Um, Fast forward when I came back after finishing my college, I kind of realized that I was in image consulting and I felt like my message isn't reaching a larger audience and I wanted to create more impact. And I also felt like there was no guideline for people. Like when I was a lot of people were taking advice from me, and when I started teaching future image consultants, I realized they had nothing to go and see online. Like if I tell them that why don't you go search for styling videos, they didn't have much to see that was relatable
True.
to the Indian fashion industry. So that's what made me feel like I need to get on social media. And at that point, blogging was all about websites. So I actually made a website, WordPress, where people would actually read blogs and you would upload like few pictures. And then overnight, Instagram had an update where you could upload like 10 pictures and swipe right, and I think they increased the characters that you could write in your caption. So this completely changed the game because now you had one platform that was extremely easy to use, and instead of actually like clicking various links to reach a blog or actually searching a topic, people had a very easy access of 10 pictures and you have a really nice write up. So the
Mm.
whole concept of actually going to a website and reading a blog almost died in terms of the fashion industry. And that's how the journey started. But the blog started August 2015. And then slowly I realized Instagram was the way. So then I think Instagram 2017-18 is when I started picking up on Instagram as a professional.
So when I was reading about you on the net, I read in your art in one of the articles that you were a very chubby, underconfident kid. So how did you
Yeah.
transform into a confident fashionista?
The I think that's the key, right? Or the key really is to work. This might sound actually shallow to a few people, so which is why I'm taking a bit of a time to articulate this. But what for me, what worked was to kind of work on my outer appearance. Now, this is extremely controversial because people say that, oh, you want to be who you are and you want audience to accept you for who you are, be it audience, friends, or family, or whoever. But my confidence came from changing my outer appearance in terms of I started working out, I started taking care of my food habits. Then I started to work on my grooming, I started to learn things, I started to work on my mental health. So both outer and inner eventually increased my confidence. Like putting makeup gave me confidence, doing my hair gave me confidence, putting a nice outfit gave me confidence. And when people say that, oh, why do you have to dress up to feel that? It's just a Kickstarter, and then it eventually becomes a part of your life, right? Confidence is just like exercising, you have to practice it. So now, even if you ask me to give this interview without makeup, I'd be more than happy to do it. But yeah, if you ask this to me like 5, 7 years back, I don't think I would have even accepted to do that. So I do think working on yourself, your grooming, your outer appearance is a cycle. It's like you wore a nice dress, you're like, oh, I look good today. I'm smiling. I put on a nice lipstick and I feel confident. And then you go out and others are smiling at you because you have that inner confidence reflecting on your face. And when they compliment you, it boosts your confidence even more, that, oh, like, you know what, I made an effort and it's really paying off. And again, it boosts your confidence. So it's like a cycle. So for me, I have to be completely honest, it did start from working on my outer appearance and then slowly working inwards.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. Whenever you wear nice clothes, put up makeup, you automatically feel more confident. And as you said, when somebody compliments you, it gives you more confidence.
In very subtle ways. For example, you go to a networking event, just an example. You dressed up well, you did all the things that make you feel confident, and somebody just comes and starts talking to you. They had option of going to 200 people and start talking, but because subconsciously this happens, it's scientifically proven. If you are well presented and you are well groomed, you have more chances of being noticed. So somebody came and started talking to you, could it doesn't have to be a direct compliment, you're looking good, but what if you made a connection?
Yeah.
And that itself is a huge help and is a very subtle way of reciprocation. So it's not just about somebody telling you that, hey, you look nice, or you wore a nice dress or nice lipstick,
Hmm.
but just in their micro gestures as well. They are more responding to you, they probably are more friendly to you than somebody else.
Yeah.
Or maybe when you go to a restaurant, you'll notice that people treat you better, the staff treats you better.
Yeah.
So these subtle things happen that also boost your confidence.
Yeah. But you notice these things with time, your confidence come with time. Like somebody, the very young audience who does that and they need direct compliments. So what do you say to
Hmm.
them, that how should they feel confident in themselves, even if nobody is, giving a compliment, they are doing so much. How can they come up with that?
Number one, confidence isn't just about external validation, right? So first point being, they have to eliminate the thought that somebody has to compliment them. Leave it. You don't need a compliment from anybody. The only compliment you need is from yourself. So the minute you start doing things for yourself, you'll automatically have a inner confidence that comes through you. And in terms of practical ways, is actually just going out, being a little bit more outgoing, having a bit more exposure will automatically give them that confidence, and definitely not attach confidence to the numbers online. That has nothing to do with uh, your inner confidence, because I have seen people with maybe like a million of followers, but when they actually come across people, they completely fall flat. So that's not a real confidence, right? It's not
Yeah,
coming from within.
true. So, even with so much, brands coming up and getting ready every day, how much time do you put in your job every day?
Pretty much always. I'm never off it. Just the time that I take in the morning and night. Otherwise, I'm either thinking about it or I'm actually physically doing a research or editing. It's pretty much always on. And I have to confess, I am a bit of a workaholic. In fact, not doing something would actually make me like, oh my God, there's nothing happening. So I don't have an answer to that, I would say, all the time. And I think any business for that matter, I don't know anybody who is in business. In fact, this is such a huge myth that I've seen online. People honestly glorify entrepreneurs and having a business so much. But the people that who really want like a straightforward life, and who feel like I want to have a good amount of money and be content, actually doing a job is much better. You go 9 to 5, you go 9 to 9, or whatever the job demands for that matter, and then you have a certain hour limit that you do, and then the rest of the time you're free, the weekends are free. But if you have a business, there is no free. You have to be on your toes all the time. There could be something that comes up absolutely at any hour of the day.
Yeah. So, how do you balance between your professional and personal life if you're working all the time?
So for me now, I've started to kind of separate times in my day. So basically, it's all about time management at the end of the day, right? So how I try to do it is, first, like I mentioned, as I wake up, I give time to myself. That's how I begin my day. And then I get on to my work. But then after evening hours, like around like 7, 8, 9, depending on the day, I switch off. Either switch off for the family, or sometimes even middle of the days, I'll just spend time with some of my friends or my parents. So and when I'm there, I'm there. Then I'm not on the phone. I'm not thinking of work. So that's how I think I separate. Even one being having separate time zones. But if I can't get onto a routine, then whenever I'm there with anybody, it's not just my family, but anybody, then I just be there. I'm not on my phone or not on any screen time.
So when we see bloggers, all we see is the getting PR packages every day, getting ready, getting shot. Uh,
Hmm.
what is
Hmm.
the life beyond that? Obviously, it cannot be only good and smiling days. How do you cope up with that?
Of course, it's not. And I think there's a lot of awareness already by now. I think when we started, there wasn't as much. But I know still so many people are so fascinated with receiving packages and, like, PR and just brands sending you. But I think they forget a very huge point. Nothing in life is for free. Like, absolutely nothing is for free. So these packages really aren't coming in to a certain influencer or a blogger for free. Twice we don't post about it, third time the PR company automatically deletes us. So it's like a constant give and take, because we give the brand something in return, do they send us, right? So this is not, in fact, I find it so funny when some of the brands message me saying that we want to gift you something, but a gift comes with no obligation. But
Yeah.
their expectation is a story or a post. So this isn't a gift. This is a barter collaboration. So you'd rather say
True.
that rather than being like, oh, we would like to send you a gift. But a gift is unconditional, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of I give it back to you or not, you still want to wish me good and you do it.
That's
But
true.
then you expect sales out of that gift. So then that's what I mean. So it really isn't for free. And then when you reach a stage where it kind of becomes overwhelming, you honestly don't want as much, because it kind of also becomes a lot of things that are unnecessary. I also believe in minimalism, contrary to what people would see online and feel like, I have a lot of stuff. I actually don't. I truly believe that you should have fewer things that are more versatile than have too much that doesn't work. So
Yeah.
I, for me, then start to feel like it's clutter, because it's not something that I always would shop or buy. And it isn't as glamorous, because you see 15 seconds online, but it took me 5 hours to film, 10 hours to edit, and 100 hours of analytics post to wonder that why did it do well, or why it didn't, and just keep tracking. So it really isn't 5% as glamorous as it looks like,
It
for
look
sure.
like. Yeah, true. So how content are you with your job?
I'm actually extremely happy, because what I really like is the flexibility of it, and I can choose my working days and hours. That's definitely there. The con being that there is no fixed salary that you have. Like, you don't have a security that, okay, like, I don't know if I'm gonna do well next month.
Yeah.
Like, if I've done well in May, just giving an example, I don't know if June will go well. I don't know if I'll get 5 projects or 10. I don't know if I'll get one or zero. I don't know the situation. So I could have
True.
zero money that month, and one month I could be doing well. So that uncertainty is actually quite high in this kind of profession. It completely depends on what's happening around the world, the festivals, and it's very uncertain. But I'm extremely content in the fact that I have flexibility, and I think I've built a very good credibility. I know I have built my following extremely organically, and that's what makes me really happy, that I didn't have to buy followers, or people don't like come and comment on my photos because I've paid them or I keep bribing them. No, they do it because they genuinely like the work, and we genuinely interact. Like, I try to get back to pretty much every comment, unless a video completely goes viral, you can't do it anymore. But otherwise, I always make sure to reply to as many people. So for me, those things are, I think, where contentment comes, that not only are you working, you are giving back as well. Yeah, so I would say I'm extremely content and happy of the job.
Yeah, I am 100% with you at the last part because you always comment back, you always reply to your DMs. There has not once that you have not replied to my message. Like, I have been connected to you since a long time. I have been following you, but I've always got reply from you. Whether it's just simple, as simple, like if I am commenting on your story, you look so good or anything, but you always reply, and that's a really, really good and connecting thing that I have got with you. I follow many other bloggers as well, but that's a very good thing about you, I must say. It really makes you
Thank you
feel
so
connected,
appreciative.
if you're following somebody,
Yeah,
you like their work, it really make you feel connected. So,
yeah.
Hina, with today, it was used to be only awkward, then Facebook, then Insta, but there is so much today. And also, we always are on our phones, even if we are on social media or not, on 24 hours news, this and that. So how do you disconnect yourself? How do you, your save your sanity at the times of so much of information at a click?
um I uh, I as soon as I wake up, like I mentioned, I don't see my phone. That's one way of doing it. And because I also am a very spiritual person, I have dedicated times to those practices, and in those practices, you cannot have your phone around. So that kind of gives me a really good disconnection. So I'll give you an example. Like I wake up, I do my meditation, either I read a book sometimes, and then I do my yoga. So let's just say 1.5, 2 hours are already gone. And at night, I completely switch off from my phone, and I'm just either, even if I'm watching a show, then I'm not like doing multiple things, or I'm checking my Instagram also, and then I'm talking to somebody also, then I'm watching a show as well. Then either I just watch a show, or sometimes I just read a book at night. So in some ways, at least the beginning and at the end, and at the end, I also every single night write in my gratitude journal. So that also gives me another 20-25 minutes, and sometimes I do journaling as well. So that kind of changes. But I'd say at least the starting and the end, I make sure that this does not depend on my phone. Like this is completely out. That's me time. And the me time is not watching a show. It's
Yeah.
like completely no screen time, either writing, reading, and doing these spiritual activities. I sometimes even chant. So yeah, I feel like these would be my ways to keep sane, and I think it helps a lot, because, and I encourage, regardless of you have a habit of being on your phone or not, I think it's just, these are good practices to have for your mental sanity in general.
True. So you have already answered my next question. What is your me time? And what quality
Yeah.
you think is a me time? So, Hina, when you do all this thing, and like you said, I'm a workaholic. So,
Hmm.
how do you feel when you're doing nothing? You're off everything.
Anxiety.
And then how do you cope up with that?
Extremely honest answer and candid. I start to like, my legs start to shake a bit. I'm like, oh my God, I have nothing to do. But honestly, I don't remember the last time I had nothing to do, because I always have something to do, because there are times, work gets overwhelming. What happens is, sometimes my reading habit just falls apart. So then the minute I have half an hour extra, or the days that are a bit slow, like for example the pandemic, and like now recently again there's been like a half partial lockdown situation, and things are half open, half not. So if I get time, then I'm like, oh, now I have time to read a book. Like I take it immediately, my brain reacts in a positive way, maybe because I've trained it for a while in that way. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, you know what, you have time for yourself, like use it. Like this is what you struggle to always get. So it doesn't now affect me as much, because then I also take it as, oh, now you have more time for yourself, which you generally don't have. And when I really don't have anything to do, I find something to do. Like I'll do some kind of activities, or um I I don't like sitting ideal, to be honest. I personally, and I think slowing down and ideal are two completely different things. One is just doing nothing and wasting your time, and one is just slowing down and enjoying other activities. Like I
Yeah.
said, reading, it could be dancing, painting, or any kind of hobby that somebody's interested in. So for me, I opt always that. So I don't know what doing nothing feels like, because even if I'm just sitting in my balcony and drinking coffee, I'm doing something, and I like that.
Yeah. So, according to you, what is the best way to self-reflect?
I think self-reflect, like I said, these practices are, of course, holistically great to self-reflect. But I also feel like there should be some kind of practical way to do it as well, not just sitting and thinking in your mind. I think every few months you need to check in on yourself, probably keep a journal. And I know journaling has a lot of benefits. I've recently started. I do it sometimes, so when you reflect back, you're like, oh my God, like literally, this is what I was thinking 2 days back, and my mindset is completely different. I was this negative, and I'm not anymore. So that's really a great way to self reflect your own patterns. And in terms of even your goals and achievements, it could be like a yearly or a 6 months thing where you actually write them down and visit them back, that have I achieved them, what went wrong, what went right, did I go beyond my expectation, why. I think some kind of practical practice of self reflection is very important, and that could be different for different people, to be honest. It really does depend if they like writing more, or if they actually are more analytic person, they could keep an Excel sheet, or maybe they have an app for it, whatever works for whoever.
So, what do you write in your journal actually?
I've actually, I'm not a so pro journal at this point to give a lot of suggestions, but I can just tell you from my experience, I've always had a gratitude journal, always. So it's been years I've had it. So that I can tell you, I write in my gratitude journal three things I'm grateful for, and I write the why of it. I also write affirmations in that journal. And right now, I actually have a gratitude journal from a brand that has these questions written down. But when I didn't, this is what I would do. I would write three things I'm grateful for and the why of it. Sometimes even more. If I was free writing, then I would sometimes even write 10 things I'm grateful for in a day. And then write my affirmations. And what were my learnings today is what I've started to do recently. What have been my learnings today, and how do I feel? So it really helps, because just for example, 2 days back in my journal, I there are three smileys. I circled the sad one, and yesterday I circled like the happiest one. So it just is really nice to track your behavior and, like, how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So I think that's my gratitude journal. And recently I've also started free writing. Free writing is a little bit different from journaling. It's basically you put pen on a paper and you keep writing, whatever. Even if you just write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, but straight for 20 minutes, you just keep writing, whatever comes up. And eventually you will reach a point where your brain clears up and you get to like your deepest thoughts. So
Okay.
that's pretty interesting to do free writing as well. You could, and sometimes it could go on for hours if you have too much filled in yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's as short as a word. So, but free writing could be putting a timer and just keep writing. And even if you are like, oh, now I'm stuck, I don't know what to write, but your pen shouldn't stop. You keep writing. So eventually you'll
Okay.
get some clarity of thought.
That's something really new. Yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoy free writing sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
like really filled up inside. I enjoy that.
Mhm. So,
And I'll tell you,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but I'll tell you the reason I would suggest people to do at least some kind of practice. I think most people are like, oh, I should be able to say whatever I want to tell anyone, right? If it's my partner, I should be able to just blurt out anything, or if it's my mom or it's my family. But no, you shouldn't. You should have some filter. And I think journaling will help you have that filter, because words once said will always affect. How much does it affect us when somebody says, we probably can't forget ever. So I think it's a really good practice to have, to kind of have an articulation, not just say, just keep saying without any like meaning. If you have a better
Mhm.
articulation, people understand also better, right? You
True.
communicate better. So I
I
think
will definitely try
that's a
this.
good practice.
Yeah, I will
Right.
definitely try this. Yeah.
Let me
So
know if it works out.
yeah, sure. So do after doing all things to self reflect, to keep yourself sane, what do you say? How is your emotional question?
My EQ is pretty high actually when I've taken a test, and my EQ is extremely high. And but again, it's like one of those questions like, do you know you? I think you keep growing it, and I also feel like I also feel like being emotional is not such a bad thing, or having a good EQ is extremely important in these days, because it's not enough to be just intelligent. I've seen a lot of extremely intelligent people but cannot handle two people in their life. So I think it's extremely good to have a higher EQ, and if you don't, then develop on it, because having an emotional quotient is not only important, it's an extremely good thing and it's a compliment.
Yeah, that's true. But when you are obviously having a balanced EQ is a very good thing, because if you're over emotional, then you tend to do things that hurt you, at the end.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you
yeah.
are very, not emotional, that is also not good for your mental health and people around you. So, how do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
balance your emotions?
Oh God. I don't know. This is like a question that's way deeper than I thought. But how do I balance it? I think again, coming down to these practices, one, help me balance it. And let's be honest, none of us have this right. I don't know anybody that has this right, because we all have these ups and downs days where either one day we are completely like into a mental breakdown, the second minute we are dancing, and it's a complete mess in terms of emotions. For most people, even if the people who don't want to agree, this truly is the
With that,
situation.
yeah.
So yeah, but a routine kind of helps you have this in check, is what I believe. Having some kind of discipline, practice, and a routine will really help have that emotion in check. And I think journaling would be a good way to balance it, because you're not just randomly reacting as you go. You're reflecting, you're analyzing, you're understanding yourself, and then you react. So I think spending more time with yourself minus your phone is, I think, a good way to balance your EQ.
Yeah. So, like, you have a very strong relationship with yourself and with your work. How are your other relations, your family, friends?
They're actually great. I have to be touch wood. I have to be extremely proud of them, because when we were talking earlier, I told you that I I have a separate time for everything. So I don't
Yeah.
mix up my friends' time with my phone time. I'm not that person who goes to dinner and is constantly on the phone, unless it's extremely boring and there are 30 people. But if I'm like one on one sitting with two, three friends, and like, I won't be the person who is on their phone or be with my family.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives me a really good base to build great relationships. Like when sometimes some of my friends come over and we sit for 5 hours straight up, and none of us checks our phone. So I think that itself builds such great relationships. And I feel like I can proudly say, if I call at least five of them, they would just leave everything right away and come, because I've done the same for them. So extremely proud of my relationships. Yeah.
Do you think your chemistry has changed with your friends or in any of the relationship with due to your work and everything?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, definitely. Because, like I said, a lot of people start to see you a little bit differently. I know in school there were so many people who never even spoke to me, because honestly, one, I was really shy as well. I didn't at that point I was just learning how to communicate, and I had trained, like I went to boarding school, so there was just a lot happening. I wasn't as great with communications, and I see all of those people now coming because they just see a number and they find it fascinating. Or probably at that point I was chubby, and so I see the intention is not as pure as it should be, of course.
So, how do you differentiate between, how can you just say that, yeah, these are my real friends and this is not, like you were talking about pure intentions and all? How do you differentiate?
Yeah. So, how do I differentiate is I think it's quite simple. We try to complicate our relationships more than we have to. And it's actually very black and white. You just know by some micro gestures that people do or how they talk. You just know that they're trying to use you instead of actually being there, because either they are taking care of you or they genuinely mean good for you, or they just want your numbers. I think it's pretty black and white. I personally can catch it extremely easily, because you just know it's not a, because relationships are not a 1 hour thing. They are a long-term thing. So it's quite easy to catch.
True. So, like your relationship with friends and family are so great, and you said you like reading books also. What kind of books do you read?
I read mostly non-fiction, self-development books. I also read poetry sometimes. So these would be the categories. I used to read a lot of fiction, not anymore. Yeah, so these are the categories I enjoy, because I feel like non-fiction kind of always gives me something to learn and be inspired from. And then poetry is something that I like in terms of art to read.
Yeah. Any of the books on top of your mind that you would like to recommend?
Oh, so many. I think everybody should definitely read Ikigai. It's such a good book. Um, it's such a nice book, not just to know your own Ikigai, but just it has a lot of great tips that I felt in terms of even food and sleep. That's, I think, really great. Another good book to read is Think Like a Monk. I'm not actually fully through it, but to whatever I've read, it's been extremely helpful. And yeah, these are the books that are coming on top of my head at the moment. There's one book called it's by this author Daniel. She talks about I think crazy rich bitch, something like that. It's, I can't remember the exact name, but I've read the book and it's really good in learning how to manifest, and how why women are so scared of talking about money. So I
Okay.
think that's a really good book. If you want, I'll send you the name
Yeah,
for it.
please do send me.
And in terms of poetry, I really like Rupi Kaur, and I've actually read a lot of poetry books, but that's the one that's coming on top of my head. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like we were discussing before, and you said that you are a workaholic and you just cannot stay idle. Slowing down is a different thing. So, how is your sleep pattern with working all the time and stuff?
It's not great, as you must have already predicted my answer. Just for example, I slept at 4 a.m. last night, so it's definitely not great.
Yeah.
But it's I am trying to work on it. I have days where I consciously make an effort to sleep on time, and I try to not. I listen to meditation music sometimes to get sleep earlier, and most days I've become better, I would say, but yes, not definitely not all there, because it's very difficult for me to shut my brain completely.
True.
That's definitely a line, I have to be honest, is a work in progress at this point.
Yeah, because it happens like in a day when you research a lot and work a lot. At night, obviously, the thoughts keep coming again and again, and you just cannot shut them. So it happens.
Yeah. And I think our conversation has been today very focused on the me time and the self-love time. So it might seem like I'm actually doing way more for my self-love and me time, but when I compare it, I am dealing with so many people in a day at the same time, be it
Yeah.
virtually or in person, that I get exhausted. So at nighttime, I actually feel like, oh, finally I've got some time to just like breathe and just be and not really just do nothing and just chill. So then it gets even more difficult because I want to seize the moment to just chill, and it becomes very difficult to sleep earlier.
Yeah. So when we talk about self-care, there is a very thin line between self-care and being selfish, like thinking about myself
Yeah,
or just
yeah,
thinking about myself. So
yeah.
at times I've seen people just can't see that line, and they're like, in the name of self-care or thinking about myself, people are doing a lot of things that affect other people, but they don't think about it. So how do you manage that, not crossing it?
I think, like you said, it's a fine line, right? So then, and I think they're two completely different things. Self-love is about taking care of your mental health and kind of taking care of you, doing, like, for example, for you, self-care could be giving yourself a pamper time at night and doing like a nice nighttime routine, or could be reading a book. It could be anything. And I think if somebody else around you can't respect that, there's a problem with them and not you. And if you yourself are, because self-love is completely different to being selfish. Selfish is constantly just thinking of me, like, I like to do this and I don't give time to other people, and um it it's and also it comes with negative uh, thoughts about other people. You don't feel joy for other people, you don't feel happy for other people, you're just constantly like, my numbers, my face, my everything. And that line is fine, but is very distinctive. It's very easy to tell. Selfish comes with a bit of negativity, and self love comes with respect. So I think that's the difference between the two. And the minute you concentrate on what you feel around the activity, it will be very easy to catch if you're being selfish or it's self love, right?
True.
And I also feel like with both the concepts, when you're concentrating on your self love, other people kind of think that you're being selfish. Or maybe more immediate people that you live with kind of start to feel that, there's she gives too much time to herself. But that is your strength and that keeps your sanity. And at that point, you have to understand that you cannot please 100 people. You have to understand that you have to please yourself first, and then have your mental health at check. And because you can't, like, there's a famous saying, you can't pour from an empty glass, which is so true. Because I've been there and I've seen other people be there. When they have nothing to offer, they only make it worse.
Yeah. But do you also think that the kids today are getting matured really fast? Like when you or me were teenagers, the life was very different, and we were more
Yeah.
innocent in our teens than teens today, because they know
The
a
kids
lot.
today.
Yeah, because they maybe
Yeah,
because of the
I mean,
information exposure.
information exposure, exactly. Those are the correct ways to put it. They have so much exposure. We didn't have, like I said, in 2009, this is my college days. People were scared to put up pictures on internet, and now we doubt the person that doesn't. Like, we ask, like, why don't you put something? Like, we actually push
Yeah.
others to do it. So that's how the world has changed. And then that point is like, oh my god, you're putting your pictures on internet, have you lost your mind? Stop it.
Uh,
And it's so, you have to understand, like, and this was my college. That's how, what a huge change it has been. So they have everything at a click. They have a tablet in their hand all the time. I got my first phone, I think, when I was in 10th or 11th standard. So, and now I see 6-year-old using phones and tabs with no problems. They know how to connect on their online classes better
yeah,
than we
yeah,
do. So,
true.
I mean, that's the difference. And of course, in that way, they are way more exposed to the world and knowledge, and of course are way more mature. The innocence, you are right, in some ways, is not at the one that we had. But I guess they're growing so much more faster. If they really put their mind to it, they can really start achieving way earlier than we did, and start to figure out things much earlier than we ever could. I think till college days, I think we were just like lost herd. We were just here there just jumping.
Yeah,
And these guys have a great opportunity to just have the focus much earlier.
yeah. So, when you're on social media, you're creating something, you get feedbacks. and not all feedbacks are positive. You get negative feedbacks. Until they are good criticism, it's good, but there are some comments that are not very good. A lot of negative thing comes your way, must be in your DMs, in your comments. How do you deal with them?
Ignore, block, delete.
That
Very,
easy?
very simple. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't earlier. Of course, it affects you. It still affects me, to be honest. Sometimes people make like dumb comments, and I'm just uh, what have I done? But some comments are so dumb that I'm just over them now. I'm just like, okay, you know what? It doesn't. I actually, you know what my standard reply is? Uh, if somebody, I'm just like, if it doesn't work for you, just unfollow.
Yeah.
तुमको नहीं समझ रहा है, press the unfollow button. Like, because why are you wasting your time commenting and telling me your opinion?
Yeah.
And in my mind, the first reply is, I didn't ask for your opinion until I've asked you. My most of the times in my captions, it's like, which look do you prefer? So it's as easy.
Yeah.
My question is very simple. I didn't ask you if I did a good job. I just asked you which one you like. So stop giving me the opinion I never asked for, or some people will even comment on your body or things like that. I'm just like, I didn't ask opinion of my body to you, so then just don't give it to me. Now I find it funny, and sometimes I even read it out loud to my family and friends around, and we all laugh at it because I think I also feel like there's so much more awareness now towards negative comments. We know, at least I know a lot of people understand this around me, that it comes from their negativity, their problems in their life, that they have to come and comment on it, because I don't have the guts to comment on some random person's page, anything for that matter. So I think it's their own insecurity that makes them so negative. And yeah, so I think ignoring truly is the best way, because you cannot please everyone. And the more viral something goes, it's absolutely impossible to control it.
True. So, what do you think? How available are you for others, for your family, friends?
Actually, too available. I'm still learning the art of saying no. I think I already am getting there. I've become very I don't know if strict is the right word, or just, let's say, I've become very mindful of the time where I'm spending, because I've realized it's very easy to let go of your own time and your own self by saying too many yeses.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest, I'm getting there, because I still give too much than I receive, for sure.
Yeah. And also, do you feel at times like that you have, the more your virtual family is growing, do you ever feel, or has any one of your friends or family told you that you are getting distant with the real family or friends?
No, no, not really. I think it's the opposite, in fact. Not really.
No. Okay, that's good.
Because I'm not that person who overspends time on the internet, or especially like a social media platform.
Mhm.
I might be doing other things like researching and all of that, but I'm not this person who's constantly, like, I have time zones. Like when I'm sitting at a stretch, I'll kind of reply to 10 people. So then I'm not like all day doing this. You get it? Like I'm not replying the minute I get it. Sometimes if I'm free, the minute I get it, I reply. But I'm not um I'm not drowning myself in that
Yeah.
social media life or the virtual friends so much, because I do realize it's the virtual world, and there's only so much. And in fact, even online, a lot of people ask questions and I can't get back to many, and it's
Mhm.
not possible, because sometimes people are just asking repetitive questions, things we've already put up 15 times, and it's just not possible to reply. And then at that point I don't stress, because earlier, when the following grew and I started getting a lot of DMs and stuff, I was like, oh my god, like, people are asking but I'm not responding, like, it's so
Mhm.
bad of me, people are taking out time. But sometimes it's not possible. Like, you're asking me a nail color that I've already put 15 times. I don't have the energy to tell you again and again. Like, you will have to just stay tuned to know it, because, and that's what I do. Like, some of the big influencers that way bigger, I do that. I'm not pestering them like which nail paint, which top, what. Like, I wait for the information to come to me. And if it doesn't come to you, then it doesn't come to you, because like sometimes like the most weird ones I get is like, I have acne, please help me. Like, I'm not a doormat. I don't know what to reply. Like, I don't know if you're not eating right, is your sleep pattern not right, like do you have stress issues, like are you going through something, like I
Yeah.
don't know where you travel, which city you live in, like how do I fix this?
Yeah, that's true. So, like I said earlier, when we see bloggers, it's still normal to, always see them putting pictures in good clothes because it's their work. Otherwise, also, social media has become all about that. Everybody is doing that. Even, if I'm crying a minute before, but when I'm on social media, I'm putting a picture or something. It will be a happy picture with a happy caption. Uh, Maybe I am dealing with depression or I'm doing whatever. uh, and it has not only on social media, and I think in real life also it has become a kind of a fashion to fake emotions. We tend
Yeah,
to share less
yeah.
real emotions. What do you think about this trend?
It's definitely not cool. But you see, I understand the backhand mentality of this, because how comfortable would you be doing it? I think it's easier said than done. Like, I'll give you an example. Just 15 days back, I got a viral skin infection. I got chickenpox,
Yeah.
right? I put it up online that I've got a viral skin infection, but I didn't have the guts to put my picture. I just didn't. Like, if you saw me in those days, my face was completely covered with boils. I
Hmm.
still don't have the guts to put that picture up, and I don't know how to tell people that I was really. I just put up one note saying that I'm not feeling well. I'm in a lot of pain, because I had to inform a lot of brands as well as, of course, the audience that you're not seeing real time content. It's pre-filmed.
Yeah.
So yes, but I couldn't give them updates that, oh, right now I'm putting antiseptic and it really hurts. I can't sleep. I can't walk properly. I just couldn't do it, because it's so much more harder to share that side, because that's already a sensitive side of you, and now you're opening that side up for judgment,
Yeah.
and that is scary. So I think that's why people, even in real life, I think with the same logic, are not able to open themselves up as easily, because that is their vulnerable self, that is their lowest point. And when somebody does not respond on your lowest time, you kind of break, and your brain automatically protects you from breaking, like, no,
True.
don't do it, because this they but your brain is protecting you from doing it. So I think that's the reason people fake it so much. Of course, I would say definitely in real life this needs to improve a lot, because I think people have just gotten so used to being like, oh, how are you feeling? It's great, but it's okay. Except that 2 days back you didn't feel great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's normal, and I think people need to normalize that. Like, I just have told you that 2 days back I wasn't feeling great, or
Yeah.
10 days back when I was suffering, I definitely wasn't feeling great. And it has to be normalized for sure. In fact, even online, if possible, try and share your failures, not just your successes, because most people share the successes after they've achieved it,
Hmm.
not while they're achieving it.
True.
So I think in the moment, if you tell me that, oh, you know what, I really do feel demotivated today, and I think I'm not that good at it, but I do it often enough. I tell my audience, I don't feel up to it. Like, I'm not up to filming right now. Like, I'm sick and tired of the camera. I'm taking a
Hmm.
break. I can't deal with this, because constantly being put together, it's taxing to your mind as well. So I just say that, no, I can't shoot. Like, I need to be in a good mood. I'm done. I'm tired. I
Yeah.
need a break.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe because we are all just sharing our destination, not the journey. We are successful,
Yeah.
then we put up. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Okay, a lot of deep talk. Let's, on a lighter note, Hina, what do you think is your greatest achievement in today?
Right now, I would say in the moment, I feel like the way I've been giving time to myself, I think has been a very big achievement, because I've tried to nail this for a very long time. So I think giving importance to my mental health above all is my greatest achievement. I think a few decisions have to definitely be a great achievement. For example, when I was studying in Singapore, I wanted to run back. 6 months was so hard, new city, completely new people, new culture. It's a mix of four cultures, food is different, had no friends there, I had no housing situation figured out. It was just a lot of huge mess. The course I was in, I was like, oh my God, do I really want to do this in the long term? And
Hmm.
I was about to come back, but I don't know what happened overnight. There was a moment of courage where I felt like, no, I need to stick to this because this is not something you run away from. This is your future, this is your career. And I stuck by, and I do not think I've taken a better decision because that is my achievement. Because if I didn't take that, I don't think I would have had the exposure. I don't think I would be the person. I don't think I would have developed the skills that I have so early on, that today, even if you tell me, Hina, you have zero staff, I can produce a full video on my own, is
Hmm.
because I was there and I made the effort to do things on my own. I learned things in those days. So I think those are my bigger achievements. But of course, with time, like you mentioned, some awards have come in, and a few countries have invited to me, and I think that has been, of course, a great achievement in terms of something that you can have a proper validation and reward that is in front of your eyes is definitely a great achievement.
Yeah.
My relationships are a great achievement, and my friendships are a very great achievement. And I think I've created a good impact in inspiring at least a good bunch of few people. And I also teach future image consultants, and I know I have changed so many people's lives, and I've helped them work through. I think these are my real great achievements because I feel like I've really impacted a few lives very deeply. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because the way you handle your account and how you deal with people, how patient you have been with me for this interview, it's tremendous. Seriously, with all the technical
Thank
issues
you.
we have
Thank you.
faced on both the sides, and still you have been so patient. It really
Yes.
says a lot about you. Yeah.
Thank you
So
so much. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
So Hina, at the end, what takeaway would you like to give our listeners on mental health and at times of social media?
I think I would suggest people to understand that, what was the last point that we spoke about, that what we put up online is, of course, a lot of glamour and the best parts. And that definitely is not the real life. It's a lot of hard work. And stop being fascinated with things. I think people really need to understand what they are passionate about rather than achieving somebody else's goals. Especially with this online community, we feel like because you are doing a podcast, I need to do it too. I Because you are making a video, I need to do that as well. You are selling clothes, I need to sell clothes as well. That has to go out. Do you enjoy making clothes? Because if you don't, then you can't really sell them. Do you really enjoy making videos? Because if you don't, then you'll never be a YouTuber or an Instagrammer. Because if you don't enjoy the process of it, you will not sustain, you will be frustrated, depressed. So I think that asking your question, what is it that you enjoy, what is your goal, what is your talent, is very important. And I think biggest message would be give time to yourself, understand yourself, communicate with yourself, because you have to live with yourself. And honestly, we tell others very frequently that I don't trust you, but the person that you truly don't trust the most is yourself. So I think start building trust with yourself, and truly greater things will happen. I promise.
Thank you so much, Hina, for being a part of this podcast. I can never thank you enough for this, and thank you so much for your views. I hope if some 2 3 listeners can get in a better situation after listening to this podcast, my work will be done.
Yes,
And
definitely.
yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to all the audiences for tuning in to the podcast and listening it, giving your time. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode. Bye bye. Bye, Hina.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye. Bye. Take care.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.